Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Tuesday, March 8, starting with Apple here on 1000 ticks. And as you can see here, we've got a little one, two, three, a little bit tricky in here, but definitely a third wave here and a fourth and coming into the fifth wave. So we'll see it come down a little bit further. And probably onto the closest largest number we always like to sort of gather to, so maybe the 160, and then we'll see an ABC correction, because after we've got 5 waves we'll see a corrective move. So this will be an A and a B and a C, and you're looking for the low of the B wave here to look too short at that point. The other point here too is that we are finding this level here, the 165, which is the lower end of minor group 2, as the resistance. So it's basically come down and then it's coming back up, retesting supply. We're using that number, it's failing at that number. We're seeing an impulse wave to the downside, so that's going to lead us to the downside with a correction and then further downside. Is it possible to look at this as a bullish move? Well, we can count 5 waves moving up here in terms of 1 and 2 here, and the third wave up to here with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So we can count 5 waves to here. Could we consider this some sort of A, B and C wave over here? Probably, and in that case we would go long above the top, or we would go long with a classic trading levels pattern sitting on 165. But it doesn't count very nicely as a B wave up here. It counts more like an impulse wave. So in a nutshell, an A wave, a B wave and a C wave. Well, we can go to the A wave here with an A, B, C for the B wave, and then a C wave here for that. So it is looking bearish, and we have been talking about stocks and indices being bearish. We've been looking at both sides, and we're waiting to confirm certain aspects and patterns. With Amazon here, just on also 1000 ticks as well, we look to short this with the stop above. We could bring that stop down now, of course. We're kind of a fair way down. We could bring it to break even. It will get a bit bouncy on these lows here perhaps, and it's also moving into minor group 2 here as well. So minor group 2, or group 2's job is to keep the price stuck to the closest largest number, in this case the 3000. It's did it the first time around, and group 1 above, so 100, 200 and 300, its job is to pin it back to the closest largest number, the major trading level 3 in this particular instance. So yeah, look, we started to count 5 waves down here for 1 and 2, and then we're into the third wave here. So our target down here will be the 2500, and that's a medium level, so we can expect support to come in at that point. We'll probably end up coming a little bit lower. I won't worry about counting it inside of this trend at the moment, but it's something that we could do tomorrow to get some sort of idea where we're going to be heading to with this. So yeah, but anyway, look to do some sort of covering at the medium level, the 2500, and there will be support within this space here, so you'll need a little bit of patience for that. Alphabet here, we're looking still within wave 4, but we're looking for a bigger picture here. Once again, this is panning out quite nicely here. I'll just remove that and I'll just leave that there. Obviously, the closest largest number, once again the 2500, which is also a medium level, we're going to see some support at that point. So we're going to see a bounce. So if you wanted to take part profit there, you can do that. Otherwise, there will be a classic trading levels pattern at this level, because it needs to migrate from being support to resistance. So it may be nice and simple like this here, or it may come back above the level in that case and make it a little bit more complicated like this here. So it'll come down for the bounce, go through it, don't get sucked in, it'll come back and retest the 2500. It may just fail from that point, but likely to maybe pop its head above that, and then you can go through the same process. This little same process here, this little pattern in here will incorporate this larger pattern as a fractal within this. So the arrival, the reaction, the first low below the level, and so on. Alrighty, so we'll investigate this further. So we'll need to look at this 5-wave structure here as 1 and 2. So we'll be probably looking further down for this market. But we'll just take it. Let's get proof first of certain things, and that means that we need that 2,500 as the resistance. So we'll also need patience at that point. So let's just wait on that. We can also move the half the risk now and move that stop down on that. So we'll get that to break even. And of course, taking a percentage at the 2,500 is one way of handling the situation, but we'll be looking for further downside at that point. So let's go in and further and have a look. So this next one here is Meta, and we're looking at wave 4 rally from wave 3 to wave 4, and then we're going down to wave 5 here in 5 waves. So we'll look at this as 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So that could come down a bit further, give it a bit of space. And then wave 4, of course, and wave 5 here. There will be support at the 180, which is a minor level, but it's also the beginning of minor group 2 as well. So 180, 172 and 165, we'll see how that plays out. So group 2 normally holds the market back to the closest largest number, so we'll see that there. But we're also looking at this here being not the low, but just part of a low of wave 3, and then we'll see wave 4 come back. So in a way, a bit of a dance across the major trading level 2, Microsoft. So yeah, this particular pattern here, as we've been looking at moving up through here, it's once again we could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 1, an A and a B and a C here for wave 2. But it doesn't count very nicely as a B wave up here. So that means that we need to look at this as 5 waves down, and then a correction, and then down again. So we'll be coming down in line with the other markets. So yeah, we talked about shorting this yesterday, but I think there could be actually one more little move down here before we get our ABC pattern here. But really it's the B wave that we're looking for. So the B wave of subminuet there, to take that out, that would be, I'll just put that in green. We'll take a closer look at this particular pattern. So that would be the short trade at that point. So let's just go from 2,000 ticks to 5 ticks or 100. I'll just see what I got on the 100, I can't recall. Okay, the same story here. Let's just bring in a bit more data. So I've tried to look at it, I've tried to be bullish, and I've look at both sides, but as you can clearly see here, we've got a nice 5-wave structure down here. But let's go, don't worry about that too much, let's go to the 5 tick and check on this a little bit further. So this is my bullish count, where I've got wave 1 here and 2 here. I won't drag you through all of that, but wave 3 here, wave 4 here, wave 5 here, and then an A wave, a B wave, and then 5 waves down here, so 1 and 2, and very clear 3rd wave here, 4th wave. I thought there would be one more little move down here, but it looks like that's a little 4th wave there, so there'll be 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Looks like it wants to push up at that point. So what am I missing here? I don't think I'm missing anything. That's a little bit weird. Obviously I am missing something. But yeah, so let me just, I've got to find that now, it's bugging me. We've got 5 waves here, so I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we've got 1 and 2, so it's definitely going to make a new high there. We're probably already at the 48, so I'm going to have to call that in, I think. Let me just double check on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. It seems to be okay, but I'm like stretching it. That's the 38.2, and this has got to go. This has got to go one more move up here, and then it's also got to have another one and another one. So that's going to take me a little bit too high for that wave 4. So that means that I really need to call that in. But what am I missing? Can't see what I'm missing. Anyway, the short, let's just look, the bottom line is that if this is correct, which I doubt it, we'll need to see this market above the closest largest number here at the 300. Of course, the market's going to bounce off 280, which is part of minor group 2, so 65, 72 and 80. So I'm sort of more interested in the short side at this stage. So let's just take this top here. Let's just pretend for a moment that that is the low here. That would give us our 50-60% retracement level up here. So it's really this consolidation here that we're talking about. And if we're talking about that, we're talking about the 290, because we like to gravitate to the closest largest number, because that's what's really happening here. And then we would look for, if this is going to extend higher here, let's just imagine that it takes out that top there, then we'd be looking at an A wave here somewhere, probably coming into the lower end of this over here, pushing it back, then a push up here, and then it'll start working lower at that point. So it's this B wave here that we want to short. You can get closer to the market, that's okay, but otherwise it's there, or you draw a line through there at that point. But even when you get a horizontal a line on an angle like this, you still need to wait for it to migrate to being resistance, right? So you'll see the market come through, bounce off it, come through, retest it. Normally they just retest once, but now and again you'll see them retest twice at a bit higher, so you have to watch your stop at that point. So really you just need to see that this line is, this green line is resistance at that point, okay? Just like we do with the trading levels. So we're looking for a short trade. I'm just going to go back to 100. So in a nutshell here, we're actually looking at this as wave 1 here. I mean, it's possible to have this as I've got it as being bullish. We'll see. But we know that things are moving lower, so we need to go into that. So we know the 190's there, so I just want to put, that's going to be, that will probably be 5 waves up at that point, pulling back, pushing up. And then, so you've got plenty of time to look. We'll look at this tomorrow, because we should be okay at that point. So you could go long here, but if you did that, make sure that, because I just think we got 1 wave short here, it might be possible to get one more little move down into here to the sort of 175 area and then push up. But otherwise the low is in, and would need to look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, looking for the short on that side based on those 5 waves here. The market has pulled back quite deeply, like it's pulled back further than the 61.8%. So from the low here to the high here, it's not a big deal, I guess, but 78.6 is fine, but still it has pulled back quite deeply. And yeah, anyway, that's that. Sorry for rambling on, but yeah, I'd go long at this point up here, or if over here, if I saw a nice impulse wave moving up here in some bullish fashion, right, then we would look for the ABC back here again, and then we would go long at this point. But as it stands today, we're looking from the high as an impulse wave to the downside, and that means that we'll look for a corrective rally and then down again at that point. Okay, Tesla's the same. It's got the same thing as well. Now, I've spent a little bit of time on this. I can count it up here as 1 and 2, and then 3 here, and then 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the fifth wave. So the extension, there is an extension in the fifth wave if I count it as those 5 waves. Otherwise, a more balanced view would be an A and a B and a C for the A wave here, back for the B wave, which is a bit small, and then up for the C wave. So I'm a little bit perplexed here as well. So we need to look at it in both ways. So first of all, on the bullish side, if we look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5 up here, then we can look at this here as the A wave here, then an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and then we would need to look at 5 waves down at that point. So yeah, it would end up down here further for this. A little bit complicated, but just to cut it short, the long trade would be above here for that. So it's a bit of a wait, but that's where that would be at this point. For the short trade, then yeah, I don't particularly want to short it unless I've got the 800 as the retested resistance. And the short trade, we've been looking at it in terms of this top being this is the bullish count, so I'll just put this in. And in fact, that's probably not, yeah, I don't know, it's a bit tricky, isn't it? We'll put this in here. This has been our original count here. So it's not, you know, we haven't thrown it out yet. It's still there. But as you could see with Amazon and Apple and some of those, and Google, we're getting sort of that lower ground on this. So that's why we've been looking at the bearish side. So anyway, but this here as the A, the B and the C wave down here in 5 waves, and the other side to this with further downside would be a slight change in the pattern, which would put wave 4 here and then going down for wave 5 at this point. Now, I'd like to short it, but I need the 800 as the retested resistance to be able to do that, because we're looking for a safe trade. So if that's the 800, then we need to see the market come down. We don't trade the breakout because you'll get caught. We wait for the retest, and then we can work that low, and also the market will probably come back above the 800, so then we need to work it down again at that point. So we're not ready for that just yet. And Square, so with Square here, just on the 100 tick chart, we're looking at this being an impulse wave to the upside, but obviously we're missing things here as well, so it makes it a little bit difficult, but it's a good reference point of being a third wave here in terms of 1 and 2 here and going up into the third wave, so that gap is good there. Now I was looking for an ABC pattern to come back, but it's extended down quite deeply, so it's almost looking bearish here. The 61.8% is about here. So I just have to wait and see. I want to get a little bit more information first about this, because if we're going to go long, we definitely need to see an impulse wave here. And the first little move here is, I suppose it's okay. We've got an impulse wave here. This is not very impulsive here though, but I just want to wait for this, because I can count it down as being corrective but it counts better as being an impulse wave to come further down. So I just need to, I just want to sort of chill on this a little bit. So I don't have any answers for this just yet. We were looking at this hopefully being wave 1 here and pulling back to the 61.8%. It has come back and covered its gap though, which I thought was good. So there's a bit of hope for it, but if we're going to go for this, we need to see another impulse wave here. Otherwise, we're just going to get trapped. And the banks. So first of all, you know that we've got a bigger picture for the banks. We can have a look at that again in a moment. But as far as this goes, this count here, we were looking at an A wave, a B wave here, and then a C wave down. So I've been counting 5 waves down as 1 and 2, and then all the way down for 3 here and 4 here, and then 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave here. So it's possible that we've got a low in here, but it's a little bit of a long shot, but it doesn't really matter either way, because if we were going to go long or short, we would need this number here to show us a particular setup. So if we were going to go short in this market, let's just assume that this was correct, then we would need to see this market push back up here. And if we're going to go short, well, then we can go short under this once it's retested that, and any move down from that point, then we can look to move further down with this. And if it was going to go to the upside, well, then it would move up to this space and then push up, and then it would give a classic trading levels pattern at this point, and then we can look to go long here. So we don't have anything here just yet for this. And yeah, I mean, on the monthly chart for this, we've got a bigger possible pattern happening with these banks. So yeah, the banks were the first ones to show weakness in the market. And then one of the first indices is the DAX. That was the next one I noticed. So I started to, you know, and a couple of those stocks that we're shorting at the moment. So I'm just starting to see sort of cracks in the pavement. So with BAC here, we've got wave 1 here and 2 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 waves up here. So it's possible with the S&P 500 too that we've got 5 waves up here, and we've been looking at that as a count for that. But in this case here, we can look at the market, this market pulling back closer to 30 in this case, so a bigger correction opening here. But we've counted a bit of an ABC down to this point, so it would need to find support on 40 and show us a decent setup, you know, because this is a strong case here. It would need to show us a strong setup to move to the upside. And this is the same with Morgan's as well. Morgan's from wave B here, we've got 1 and 2, we'll be counting down as 3 and 4 here. Bit of an overlap here, but that kind of happens when you're around large numbers, because large numbers sort of, you know, suck the volume of people's minds to the levels, to certain numbers. And yeah, I mean, I could open this up and look at it as a bigger picture, but just counting each wave, then this is where we are at the moment. So it's possible to have a low in, but once again, you know, we can see this moving down in a larger way as well. So nothing really to do here, really just to observe here for a while with all of this. So this is a slightly different, this is a bit more like Goldman's really, this particular pattern here, slightly different, but from this GFC period here, we've got 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3, and ABC for expanded flat for 4 and up for 5. So we're really just in a bigger picture here, because we could count 5 waves up with the banks, as I mentioned. And yeah, so yeah, further downside. So this will be probably brought back into 100 at some point. So we need to look at this in a slightly different way, but I won't do that today. We'll just see how these current lows sit, and we'll see where we are with those. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.